Hey guys, so today we're going to continue to talk about multiplying and dividing by powers of 10. And when we do that, in my class we've talked about an acronym to use to help us to remember which way we need to move our decimal. So when we talk about that, we talk about DLMR. And our acronym for that, though just the way that we remember it, is don't let mom rap, because nobody wants their mom to rap. Okay? So when we talk about the D for don't, when we divide, we have to move to the left. So we take that decimal and we move it however many times our exponent tells us to the left. The M and the R, when we multiply, we have to move to the right. So when we multiply, we move our decimal to the right however many times that exponent says. So we're going to start with multiplying because that's what we started off with first in class. If I have the number 2 45/100 times 10 to the third power, I have to figure out what that equals. So for me and what I told in my class, I always pull this number down so that way I can easily move the decimal, and I'm going to do that with my green marker. So here's my decimal, and I'll make it a little bigger so you guys can see. There's my decimal right there. Because I am multiplying, I have to move it to the right, okay? And because my exponent up here is 3, which is kind of hard for you guys to see right now, because my exponent is 3, that means that I have to move it 3 times. So with my green marker, I'm going to start at the decimal point. You must start at the decimal point when you're moving. So I start it there and I go once, twice, 3 times. Here is my new decimal. I can now erase that decimal. Okay? Well, I have an empty little bump right here, and what I like to call those is like my egg cartons, because they kind of look like cartons of eggs in the store that your parents buy, and that carton needs an egg in it. So because it needs an egg in it, I have to put my placeholder, which is a 0. So therefore, when I go to answer this question, the answer is 2,450. Okay? Let's try one more. So let's talk about 673 thousandths times 10 to the second. So this time for my number, I'm going to pull it down again with my green marker this time. And because I'm multiplying, I have to move to the right. And my exponent right here tells me that I have to move it 2 times. So with my blue marker, I'm going to start at the decimal point here, and I'm going to move it once, and I'm going to move it twice. There is my new decimal point. So therefore, my answer to this problem is 67 3/10, or 67.3. Okay? Now, we can get into much bigger numbers where we start talking about 10 to the 5th power, 10 to the 6th power, those types of things. So we're going to also look at one of those questions as well. So if I have 65 times 10 to the 5th power equals. Well, we talked in class about whole numbers, and a lot of you guys struggled with, well, it doesn't have a decimal. There's not a decimal anywhere in there. And the way that I kind of talked about that with my students is I said, well, if you had $65 and this number, so right there, 65, 65. Are they both the same? They're worth the same value. Those zeros don't have any value, so it doesn't change it. So therefore, at the end of every whole number, there's an invisible decimal point that you just can't see. So with my green marker, I'm going to rewrite 65, and I'm going to stick my invisible decimal point right there on the end. Okay? Now, I have to move that invisible decimal point to the right because I'm multiplying. I have to move it 5 times to the right. So I'm going to take my blue marker and I'm going to move it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Here's my new decimal. I can erase my green one. Now, I have lots of egg cartons that need to be filled. So I have to add 1 0, 2 0, 3 0, 4 0, 5 0. Now remember, if you want to go back in and add commas, that's fine, but starting at the back, you have to count 3 digits. 1, 2, 3, comma can go here. 1, 2, 3, comma can go right here. Therefore, my answer to this problem is 6,500,000. Okay? All right, let's talk a little bit more about division. I'm going to grab a paper towel. When we talk about division, it's pretty much the same. You're just moving in an opposite direction. So, if I have 67.43 times 10 to the second power, I'm going to pull that number down. So 67.43, and I'm going to move it, oh, I forgot to change this to division. Sorry, guys. Since we are dividing by powers of 10 now, I'm going to move this to the left, and I've got to move it 2 times because that's what my exponent tells me to do. So when I move it 2 times to the left, once, twice, here's my new decimal point. Therefore, my answer is going to be 6,743 10,000ths because this 3 right here is now in the 10,000ths place. If I had 102 divided by 10 to the third power, I'm going to rewrite 102 down here. And remember, on whole numbers, we said that the invisible decimal point is always back there on the end. I have it to the third power, so that means that I have to move it to the left 3 times. Once, twice, 3 times. So now my answer is 102 thousandths. You can do one more here on the bottom. If I had 1.53 divided by 10 to the second, again, I have to take that decimal starting there and move it twice. Once, twice. Here's my new decimal. I have to add a 0, so therefore my new answer is 153 10,000ths. Okay? Please make sure that if you have questions that you do ask, but I hope that this video helped you.